Hello friends, welcome back. My name is Ramon. How are you today? So as we're near the end of 2020 and I'm looking at what other content I can create and post for you guys, talking to my boyfriend, he was like, well, why don't you just do a video talking about like what trends people want to dye in 2020 and what people want to see happening in 2021? And I was like, that's actually a really hot idea. I don't know if you guys remember this or if you guys watch her channel, but Jackie and I used to do this every end of year for a few years, and they were honestly some of the funniest videos. And I'm not about to do the same level of camp and humor that she does, but I actually went on Instagram and posted a question for my followers to answer, and they answered very truthfully what trends they were tired of this year and what skincare trends they want to see happen in 2021. And with that being said, make sure you actually follow me on Instagram and Twitter at @GoByRamon, just because I frequently ask questions, put polls up on my story, just because I really like interacting with you guys and talking and having discourse. I also want to reiterate the point that this whole video is not necessarily only ingredient based. We're really talking about trends, mentalities, products and marketing overall in the skincare industry, skincare consumer world, skincare content creating field. So this is coming from a very multi-perspective scope. But before we get into it, I'm gonna ask you to hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that you know when I post more skincare, sunscreen, or fancy related content on my channel. Give it a thumbs up, and down below, what are some trends you are tired of? What are some gimmicks you don't want to see anymore? And what are things you want to see on the rise and want to see popping in 2021? Let me know down below. This is gonna be another installment of my hot takes and hot cake series, where I eat something or consume things on screen in the style of a mukbang, aka hot cakes, and give my opinions, go off, sound off in a rant style video. Hot takes. Today's hot cake of sorts is chocolate abuelas, aka Mexican style hot chocolate that my boyfriend made me. And then these are called McVitie's digestives. This is in the flavor milk chocolate, and these are like £1.50 at the corner store, and they are scrummy. So here's the tea. Again, as I mentioned, I went on Instagram and I posted a question being like, what are the trends you want to end? What are the ones you want to see? And people went off. People had opinions. I have them all written down. Let me just say, a lot of these opinions were very consistent. I have quite a few answers and responses that I saw repeated really frequently in the answers. And so we're just going to go down and we're going to start with the trends you guys want to dye. You want no more of these. They are done in 2020. And first and foremost, niacinamide in everything. 2020 was the year of niacinamide, and there was just a lot of branding, marketing, and pushing the benefits, the role, the status of niacinamide in skincare products. And I think Susan Yara, I keep saying that niacinamide is her third born child, just because it was such a big feature of Naturium, and she was really pivotal in really highlighting that ingredient. And a lot of people were like, we're tired of seeing it. But here's the thing about that. Niacinamide's been around, is around, will be around for a very long time. It's been in your skincare products for decades, honestly. And it's just a very important ingredient. I think 2020 was the year of really highlighting that. And I remember watching content from Susan from a long time ago, and she was like, I really want to see this ingredient really get the hype it deserves, because it can do so much for the skin, and in all honesty, it does. It's really beneficial for a really wide range of skin tones, really wide range of skin types, and people just keep mentioning that they're tired of seeing it in so many different skincare products, but A, it's a selling point. Skincare is all about marketing at the end of the day. Also, the fact that, again, it is good for the skin. It's not this hot gimmick that suddenly comes out of nowhere and has no actual backing. Like, there are studies and research done showing niacinamide's efficacy, and it's not a bad ingredient, therefore I got no beef with it. I do agree that I want other ingredients to be highlighted, and there's definitely a lot of alternatives, and I've actually mentioned this in my underrated ingredients / ingredients I want to see hyped up in 2021 video. Go check it out. You guys are tired of niacinamide, but I got bad news for you. She's not going anywhere. Sorry to say it. Next point y'all are tired of. Clean beauty. And there was a lot of people that sounded off on this in my responses, and y'all are just really tired of a lot of the marketing and the gimmicks behind clean beauty. And clean beauty in itself is a very complicated field to be around. And in my cosmetic sciences program, we had a whole series of lectures really highlighting what really is clean beauty, what do we need to do in order to fall under those categories of completely organic, completely natural, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we are tired of seeing clean beauty, and we understand what really is involved or isn't involved, honestly, behind that name, but people want that. That's a specific desire people want in their skincare. And I mean, it also falls back to like fragrance and essential oils. People love the sensory of having things like a certain kind of smell or feel or texture behind their skincare. And there's a whole group of people that are really against all that. But in reality, people want clean beauty. Coming from a science background, and I know a lot of you are just kind of like, well, none of the stuff they market makes sense. Yeah, kind of. But in reality, I think there's a lot of people that are doing clean beauty really, really well, and really highlighting that is legitimate science behind a lot of the things behind their brands and behind their products. And then there's other brands who I think do bank on people's fears and lack of knowledge behind a lot of things, especially brands calling out toxic ingredients and all that stuff. There's definitely a certain boundary where things cross a certain line. But People want clean beauty. Clean beauty is on the rise. And I think we're seeing a lot of brands innovate in the sense of being clean in a lot more than just the face value of what clean means. And we see it with like Fenty Skin and Pharrell, how you're sourcing your ingredients, ecological and environmental impacts you're having where you're sourcing your ingredients from, your packaging and sustainability behind that. Clean beauty is a very complicated thing. What I'm looking forward to seeing more is just more inclusivity in the clean beauty space, lower price points, more marketing and more tailoring towards more diverse group of consumers. Clean beauty, because it's so expensive, is inaccessible and they don't really market to people of color, but that's just me. Next point, single-use products or sheet masks, which also constitute single-use products. They're not the best for the environment. A sheet mask, the material it's made of isn't necessarily biodegradable, and it's literally a one and done product that doesn't have the best carbon footprint necessarily. On top of that, there's other single-use products like cotton rounds and whatnot. I got opinions on this. I understand the impact, and I personally have really minimized my purchase and use of sheet masks. I think that's one of the things about stepping more forward into like what clean beauty is in different aspects, and again, being a little bit more environmentally conscious, practicing a little bit more environmentally friendly things. I'm on the lookout for like reusable cotton rounds for sure. And I realize a sheet mask is really just like a fabric soaked in essence or serum, and there's ways of doing that without it. But there's also something to be said about having a serum that's occluded with something on top of it that's not just a moisturizer. Also, sheet masks are just like fun to do. I don't want to shit on people's like feel good practices, because I know when I'm like feeling it, like a sheet mask just like does good for my soul. And then there's makeup wipes, and those definitely do need to go. And that actually leads me into my next point though, unnecessary double cleansing. Makeup wipes, single-use product, they're not really good, A, for the environment, or B, for the skin. And so there's other ways around taking off your makeup, right? We were in a point for a few years there with the beauty industry where it was full coverage, long wear, water resistant, everything, like full B glam, everything. We had to figure out ways to take that off because a lot of cleansers couldn't necessarily break that down easily. We're in a different phase of beauty right now. And on top of that, I think we're in a different phase of understanding like ways to remove makeup and whatnot. And so unnecessarily double cleansing. Here's the tea with that. You don't need necessarily to double cleanse on an everyday basis if you aren't wearing a full coverage beat or layers upon layers of water resistant makeup. Surfactants and cleansers can definitely for sure break down easily a good majority of that, wash it away without stripping your skin and without leaving residue on the face, because cleansers are very advanced now and they're also very gentle and effective in how they remove impurities from the face. That being said, there's also not studies saying that you don't need to double cleanse. Some people enjoy double cleansing. I was talking to my boyfriend about this. He's like, I just legitimately love the way my skin feels after cleansing when I do double cleanse, and it's an enjoyable experience for me to do. If you like double cleansing, double cleanse. If you don't necessarily need to, unless again, you are wearing a full coverage makeup beat and you're wearing a lot of sunscreen that's water resistant and you're having a tough time breaking that down. The next point, people are tired of fear mongering and or excessive science talks. And this is the point I was talking about with my friend Skin Science Zaddy over on Instagram. But real talk, you just have a lot of influencers really touting science backgrounds and going on social media and being like, so here's the tea with the science behind your skincare, the ingredients, the formulation, and why you need to listen to me. There's just a certain air of elitism behind that, and I'm like guilty of that. Although I personally feel like the content I try to come out with isn't necessarily being like, everything you listen to is wrong and here's why I'm right. I feel like I try to tailor my content more towards the fact that like, here's what the different ingredients can do for you and find the best one that works for the concerns that you want or the skin goals that you want to achieve. If I talk down to you, I am so sorry. But I have to admit, there's a lot of creators I find in the space who are very much like, I'm a cosmetic science, not even actually, they don't even have credentials, I'm gonna be real honest with you. And they're still coming at you with this kind of like, I'm better than you, elitist, like very aggressive approach at like explaining skincare concepts. What it comes down to and what him and I were talking about was it just really takes the fun out of skincare. I was talking to Susan Yara about this, I've been talking to James about this, and just like, remember when skincare was fun? I think that there's so many people trying to like make their points and like state their like skincare philosophies and like really try to bring people back to like trusting certain people over others. And I'm like, at the end of the day, if you enjoy a certain product and you want to use that product and it does good for you, that's great. If you want specific skin goals that you want to achieve and certain benefits you want to see in your skin, that's the kind of content I try to come out with like explaining like what ingredients are great for evening out skin tone and pigmentation related issues. I'm not about to tell you like the skincare you're using is bad and here's why. So that one I have to agree with. And again, if at any point I come across in that way, I'm sorry. I've had people in my comments recently be like, you're kind of coming across that way. So I've had to take a step back and like refocus my approach. So I'm sorry, apologies. At the end of the day, again, just enjoy your skincare. Have fun with what you use. If you're not actually going out and damaging your skin, I don't care what you use. As long as you're happy with that, it's good. My continuation off of this and something else I saw frequently in my responses was inky list judging. Literally just going through without really using a product or just looking at the ingredients in a formulation and being like, well, these are bad ingredients ingredients, don't like this skincare product. I mean, this goes back to my burrito video talking about like why you can't just look at an ingredients list and see certain things and make rash judgments just right off the bat. Formulation is a lot more complicated. You have to understand concentrations, you have to understand pHs, you have to understand what role a specific ingredient is playing, especially if it's a combination with something else in the formulation. It's not that simple. I have a lot of videos on this. I'm not gonna go too in depth on this, but just like don't judge a book by its cover is what it comes down to. There was a point about a mob mentality in skincare, and that is people kind of going off of a single solitary opinion without doing their own research or really understanding things from multiple perspectives, grabbing a pitchfork, joining the mob, and acting the fool in people's comment sections. Make informed opinions, do your own research. Next one, really popular as well, over exfoliating and how it's done. Why are we still doing it? That should have been over decades ago. Something I've been guilty of many a times is you want results and you want results yesterday. And so you're going in with a AHA, a BHA, a PHA, all at once on the same routine without letting your skin recuperate, without letting your skin heal. You're just doing too much to your skin and compromises your barrier. Real talk, spoiler alert, I think a big trend for 2021 just needs to be first and foremost barrier care. Something I've been highlighting in my content since I started my channel. But next point, someone brought up was CBD, and I don't got much to say about CBD because I don't look for her. She's nowhere in my vicinity. She's not anywhere in my field of vision, but she was hyped up for a minute in skincare, although I feel this is actually a little bit more dated, but I'm not looking out for her. Next point is actually a really good one, and it was over buying and buying too much skincare, buying new skincare before you finish products you already have. Something I'm guilty of. I'm someone who I get a lot of enjoyment out of spending money and buying new things, and I also have a lot of skincare in my bathroom I'm not necessarily done yet. Granted, I have a boyfriend who loves skincare as much as I do, so he also uses the products that I do, so we go through them eventually, but there is definitely something to say about having a more concise, minimalistic skincare routine. Spend within your limits. Don't do too much. There's definitely a point in my life where I maxed out a credit card just buying skincare and whatever made me happy. And do I regret that? Severely. The next point is something that I have a lot of feelings about, but it's something that's very my own opinion. You do you, it's just my own thing, and that's Luxe skincare. Unnecessarily expensive skincare that isn't worth the price. Barbara Sturm, her skincare line comes to mind first and foremost. I don't see the point in spending $200 for a hyaluronic acid serum. Here's the tea. Again, if you like a product and it works for you and it does things that make you happy, buy it. I don't care how much it costs you, but that's why I also want to reiterate the point that you don't have to have expensive skincare for you to have effective skincare. Those two things aren't mutually exclusive. There's amazing, affordable, drugstore, cost-effective skincare that does amazing things for the skin, have amazing benefits. Understand expensive doesn't mean better. Next thing we are ditching in 2020 that I don't want to see anymore and I am tired of in the pit of my soul, white cast on sunscreens. Why is that still a thing? It's 2020, sunscreen's been around for decades at this point. I don't understand why sunscreen innovation hasn't gotten to the point where we are beyond white cast. And even tinted sunscreens, there's PLC-owned skincare lines that have sunscreens that look horrible on skin of color, and I just don't get it. I don't understand.
Like what? Bit confusing. We'll never understand that.
Makes no sense. Go watch my video on my top mineral sunscreens of 2020, or go watch any of my other sunscreen content highlighting my favorite sunscreens of the year. You don't have to stick to only mineral sunscreens if they don't work for you. There are amazing organic, aka chemical sunscreens that are great for skin of color, that aren't irritating, and are great for sensitive skin. To that point, the last thing we're ditching in 2020, I don't want to see anymore. I don't want to hear about it. Do not put it up in my comment section. No more DIY skincare. You're really just heightening the likelihood of irritation and potential problems with the skin. It's not worth it. Now let's look at the next list. The things we're looking to trend in 2021, the Heatseekers of next year. First and foremost, and this is what I'm most proud to see. This is what I was so happy to see in those responses, and that was 2021 will be the year of azelaic acid. She's my girl. She is that ingredient. She does pretty much everything niacinamide can do for you, and I think it's just a really great ingredient that's really slept on. It's an ingredient I've talked about for the entire life of my channel these last 9 months. I just love azelaic acid. It has so many benefits for the skin and is so well tolerated that it's great for pretty much every single skin type, skin tone, every person, no matter what your needs are in your skin and what skin goals you have, you can use it and you'll get use out of it. Next ingredient, and again, as I mentioned in that video, I was like, I thought she was that girl. I thought she did have her time to shine just because as someone who loves K-beauty, she's been in my life now for 4 or 5 years and I've used her for a long time. I've sung her praises for a long time because she does a lot for my skin and I love the effect she has. But talking to other people, they're like, well, it's not really used a lot here in the West. You don't see Centella having the same place, the same stronghold in skincare as you do in Korea. And I've just now recently begun to see Centella Asiatica pop up in certain skincare lines. It's not necessarily hot and popping in Western skincare just yet. And I hope that in 2021, just because it has so many great benefits, that we see Centella on the rise. Something that got posted in the response that I thought was interesting was still seeing maskne related marketing in 2021. I'm not so sure about this. I mean, granted, I do hope and anticipate that social distancing practices still continue on into 2021 as we continue to hopefully see COVID rates drop. It's interesting because I don't really feel like I've seen masking as a big marketing ploy recently with skincare brands. And I'm wondering, will it be more prevalent in 2021 just as more launches are being made and we're still wearing our masks? Next point is one I thought was really interesting, and that was non-vitamin C related antioxidants. Vitamin C is primarily one of the most hyped up antioxidants, but as this response alludes to, there are definitely other options for antioxidants and ones that I love even more. I mentioned Centella asiatica, great antioxidant, but things like niacinamide, your vitamin A, aka retinoids, technically are antioxidants as well. Resveratrol, EGCG, aka derivative of green tea, which green tea in itself is an amazing antioxidant. A lot of different options for antioxidants that you can put in your skincare, apply topically to your skin to give you the benefits. I think this is an interesting one because I feel like those are definitely hyped up, but I feel like vitamin C definitely does have that strong hold to that title. And I'm really excited to see other brands really highlight other antioxidant rich ingredients. Honestly, kind of in the way that Cray Beauty did with their Beach Shield sunscreen, where they really highlighted like, oh, there's all these antioxidants in this, and those were ingredients that I had honestly never heard of prior to that launch. Antioxidants are great for you, and I think if you can incorporate a lot of different ones and different facets to your skincare routine, you're gonna see a lot of benefits, especially for skin color. So I actually really like this answer. Next response, one again very near and dear to my heart and kind of going off the no white cast in 2021 anymore, is seeing more innovation in SPF formulation as well as bettering of SPF regulations, kind of going off of what's happened very recently. But talking about sunscreen innovation, which is something I really want to get into, and that's something I have a lot of passion about. The FDA, we always talk about, is decades behind the rest of the world in terms of approving UV filters. It's funny, I think the Pareto mishap really highlighted a lot of the issues with sunscreen regulations all over the world. Looking at the US, which is in no way any better off, and we have our own set of issues with regulations and whatnot, but the filters we have in the US don't have the greatest safety profile, and the list we have approved that we can use and people actually want to buy is shrinking substantially. And with a reduced number of UV filters, I think that really limits the accessibility as well as the inclusivity of who can use sunscreen, just because what are we going to do, rely on zinc oxide for everyone when we all know I don't look good on everyone? I just want to see more happening, as sunscreen use and sunscreen popularity is definitely on the rise, and we definitely have the resources to make things happen, and it's just not happening. Another ingredient you guys talked about a lot and you saw as a heat seeker for 2021 was alpha-arbutin, and I understand why. It's one of my favorite ingredients. It's a really great anti-pigmentation ingredient that just helps to even out the skin tone really beautifully. It has very little likelihood of irritation in the skin. It's also a great antioxidant. I highlighted a bunch of my favorite alpha-arbutin products in my great ingredients for pigmentation and skin of color video, so go check that out if you want recommendations, but wholeheartedly agree with this. I definitely want to see alpha-arbutin on the rise. Something that was really popular in my responses, that was both on the things you want to ditch in 2020, but also things you want to see in 2021 in a similar vein, is ending the need for a bunch of single-use items and really seeing the popularity rise of multi-benefit skincare. So ideally one and done products where you can get a bunch of different benefits in one simple product, and you're not just layering and stacking up products or having to spend a bunch of money on a bunch of different things to get your skin goal. This is something that a lot of my content's based around, actually. I really like to promote and hype up serums, toners, moisturizers, sunscreens that give you as many benefits as you can in one simple product, so that if you're like me and you got no time in the morning and you're mad lazy, you could just slap on one thing, run out the door, and you are good. Stradia and Naturium are two of my favorite brands for this. Highlighting what Naturium does. Naturium tends to highlight one specific thing on their packaging in terms of like alpha-arbutin serum, niacinamide serum, BHA exfoliant. But what I think they do really, really beautifully is that in the finer text still on the front, they also talk about that it's paired with all these different things that are going to fortify that one primary ingredient and all the benefits you can get from those ingredients. For example, niacinamide, you get so much out of that. But each individual thing that's added to the ingredient to fortify the product also in itself adds a bunch of different benefits. You're getting like 5 birds, 1 stone essentially with those products. And so I think for the sake of being really effective in cost and also saving time and being really beneficial for the most group of people, those kinds of products are amazing. But I definitely agree with this, and that's something that I definitely highlight in my content. Next thing I had submitted here for up and coming in 2021 was just mandelic acid was written down. I definitely agree 2020 really saw the rise of mandelic acid as a really popular ingredient. I think people are looking for alternatives for great exfoliants. And being a really gentle variation of an AHA, I definitely see the hype behind it, and I definitely recommend it a lot on my channel just because it's the most approachable and the most inclusive of the AHAs in my opinion. That being said, I actually had a conversation about this in my comment section today. You don't have to limit yourself to one specific ingredient, and especially in the form of an AHA, just because this one might be technically safer than the other variants of it. Primarily I'm talking about how I feel like people really demonize glycolic acid for skin and color. And I just want to highlight once again that find what works best for your skin, find what you feel is most safe for you or most beneficial for you based on what your comfort is or what your skin can tolerate. And the last thing I want to highlight as one of the things people want to to see on the up and up in 2021 was body care. And this is something that I feel I've gotten a lot of requests for. You guys want to see my body care routine, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't do a lot. I wash my body. I sometimes put skincare on it. Really, I just take whatever skincare is on my face and put it elsewhere on my body just to make sure things are nice and plump and supple and hydrated. But I think we're at the point now where we want to take all the energy and all the effort and all the products we take into making our face look great, and we want to see that applied elsewhere on our bodies. And I've seen a lot of people really highlight this, especially primarily estheticians on my Twitter feed. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see this coming year how skincare kind of evolves potentially to include body care and hype it up as much as they do face care. I also want to tell you, don't shy away from putting your serums, your moisturizers, your treatments on your body as well. Niacinamide, some gentle AHA, BHA combos, as well as your retinol even. Put it elsewhere on your body just to get those benefits in other places. Make sure you are definitely moisturizing the same way moisturizing your face. Keep your body as protected from the sun as you do your face. I'm someone who I dress very modestly on a daily basis. Most everything is covered, but more so you should really focus on, if you have exposed areas, make sure those are covered in sunscreen, especially your hands, especially the back of your ears, the back of your neck. Don't neglect those areas as well. There's no reason you can't already start taking care of your body. Buy some affordable skincare, and that can be what you use for your body, and save your nice expensive skincare for your face. And with that, those are the trends you're tired of in 2020 and the trends you see on the up and up for 2021. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that you know when I post more skincare, sunscreen, and related content on my channel. Give the video a thumbs up, and down below, what are your thoughts on the opinions other people had to say? What are things that you're tired of, things you really want to see happen next year? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.